Hey guys, what's going on? In this video, I want to help you understand how to craft gloves like this simply and easily. Plain English, step-by-step guide so you too have the understanding how to craft something like this if you get to the place in the third edict where you want to change your build-up and not really lose too much power and make some really cool gloves. So without further ado, let's pop the hood and see what's going on with these massive mitts in Path of Exile 2. So I'm a life stacking Blood Mage, and for me, I wanted to make sure that I was no longer using energy shield because I'm just regenerating more health than I have every second now, and armor was the only defense that really made sense for me. So let me show you a few things before we get into the video so you know what's up, and this would be something very simple. When it comes to gloves, I want you to go to pathofexile2db.tw, and I'm going to show you here actually. When you go to the website, there's going to be a way for you to filter based on items. So if I clicked on items here, you're going to see that I have all these different items in Path of Exile 2. Now the ones I care most about are going to be under the armor category, and that's gloves. And you're going to see that there's different kinds of gloves, not the unique ones, but the second tab, glove items. So there's all kinds of gloves here, whether it's going to be tempered mitts, it could be suede bracers. And if I just typed in as an example, I know massive mitts is what I'm looking for. So I press Control F, I type in the word massive, and it goes down and it finds me the massive mitts. These are the highest base armor gloves in the game, so you would pay a premium for it, but just something to know, you could use vol mitts, well, they're one divine cheaper as of the time of this video to base craft with, or you can get ornate mitts. You'll see that the base armor value is slightly different, and it really depends on you. Like, if you want to have a resaleable set of gloves, go for a higher base, absolutely. The massive mitts are going to cost me 2 divine to start, while the, like I said, vol mitts will cost you about 1. So the truth is, for me, when we're stacking life this way, we hit like the 8,000, 10,000 life mark. We don't really need a lot of armor. Everything's basically dead, but the crafting video is to just give you the information so now you know that massive mitts would be the best. So let's dip into the game here for a second, and we're going to try to trade for some massive mitts just like these ones. So I'm going to press / on my keyboard, and I'm going to open up the following. So I've typed in massive mitts. I want to make sure that I'm looking for normal or white items. I want at least item level 78 base, and rune sockets is going to be 2. Now I don't want to have anything corrupted. I don't want to have anything sanctified. I don't want anything fractured either. Nothing like that. If it's corrupted, sanctified, or fractured, it messes with the process. We don't want that. So I'm going to hit search. And I can see that it's coming up for 7 annuls, which isn't too bad. In this video, we're going to go ahead and grab one for 2 divine. So we'll grab this. Okay, so the first step in our video is we're going to try to make sure that we have a life modifier on our gear. Whether that's pure life tier 1 or that's going to be hybrid life, in our case life and armor, that's really great. But how do I know that? Well, let me show you this. Inside Path of Exile 2 db.tw, again, that website, if you scroll up to the top and you start up, there's a Modifiers tab. Clicking the Modifiers tab will take you here. And I'm going to walk you through this. I want you to have all the information. So I click on PW2DB, I go to Modifiers and click on this, and I go to Gloves. Now there's different kinds of gloves. Glove Strength, Glove Dex, Glove Int, and then some hybrid versions of 2 different defense types. We are currently looking for Strength. Strength is armor, Dex is evasion, Int would be energy shield. So we were looking for the modifiers only to strength-based gloves. So when I click on that, here they are. I can see all the prefixes that could exist, and a rare item has only up to 6. So 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes. These are the different pools of modifiers and the weights, the odds of hitting those also listed. And then this gray orb here is going to tell you the item level modifier that you need to obtain a maximum life roll. So if I look at this and I click on maximum life, I can see there's different tiers of it, but at level 60, that's athletes, that's tier 1. Okay, very important to know. And if I see increased armor and life right here, this is going to be level 78, crocodiles. So now that we know that 78 is higher than 60, we now know we're looking for an item level 78 pair of massive mitts or whatever base gloves you're using. Okay, so then we take a peek inside the game, and you can see that an Orb of Transmutation is going to upgrade a white item to normal and guarantee a minimum modifier level of 70, which is perfect because that is exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to use Orb of Transmutation on our gloves. And we got 40 lightning res. Well, that's not exactly what I was looking for, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We've got a modifier on there and we didn't hit life. If you hit tier 1 life or tier 1 hybrid life, stop right there. But because I didn't, I'm going to go ahead and use a Regal Orb to make this magic item now rare. Perfect, and I got mana per enemy killed. All right, so I'm going to use an Orb of Annulment now, and I'm going to make this item a rare pair of gloves with just 1 modifier. Orb of Annulment is going to remove 1. And our goal here is to get to 1 modifier that is tier 1, either hybrid life or pure life. So let's annul to remove 1, and I still have my resistance, no problem. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is where it gets kind of expensive in the beginning. So we're gonna be using Orbs of Chaos to randomize whatever the modifier is until we get what we want, hybrid life or life. So we're gonna spam this until we get that. Spamming, I'm gonna right click on Chaos Orb and hold Shift. I'm now gonna left click, and what do we hit? T5 life. I'm pressing Alt to see. I press Alt and I see that's a tier 5 modifier, not good enough, I want tier 1. So we go again, tier 3, I've got tier 2, strength, dex. Just keep hitting this until you get the one that you want, which is, like, again, life, tier 1, or hybrid life. Okay, and I can stop right there. I got in the range. So I got 129. I'm going to press Alt. Tier 1 life ranges from 120 to 149. So life is good. I can put my Chaos Orbs away. We don't need those anymore. Let's keep this video nice and clean. So far, our massive mitts are doing great. The next thing we're going to do is use an Omen of Sinestral Exaltation, which is going to add prefix-only modifiers, not suffixes. And I'm going to activate the Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation. So this Omen is going to force these gloves to produce a prefix that also has an existing modifier on it already. And so to find out what that modifier is, I can press Alt and mouse over T1, and I can see that it says Prefix Athlete's Life. So this is going to force my perfect Exalted Orb to give me a minimum modifier level of 50 on life. But let's take a peek here to make sure that's what we want. If I looked at life tags in Path of Exile 2 database.taiwan, TW, I can see life has right here. Perfect, already have that, can't get that modifier again. If I look at increased armor and life, it's life defense, click on this. So minimum 50 means I'm gonna hit octopus or crocodiles. So no matter what happens, it can't roll the perfect exalt, it cannot roll lower than octopus. So let's hope that we get crocodiles and that'd be really cool. Or else it's crocodile tears for everybody. But that's what's gonna happen. It has to force the life tag. And when looking at only the prefix pool, there's only 2 life. And because I've already got life, I can only get life again. So we're gonna slam this exalt and see what we get. Bingo, we hit double T1 and it actually rolled perfect life on the T1. That's hot sauce. Amazing. So far, so good. So we slammed it and we hit T1 life, good to go. The next step is we're going to use an Omen of Dextral Necromancy. So this is going to add a desecrated mod, a green mod, an abyssal mod to our gloves, but it's only going to add a suffix modifier. So let's go ahead and do that now. We activate this Omen, and then we're going to use a preserved rib to throw on a desecrated modifier. So let's do this. Bingo. Now if I press Alt, I've got 2 prefixes and 1 suffix. Now that I have a suffix modifier, I can use this Omen of Dextral Crystallization, which says the next perfect or corrupted essence, which this is, it's a corrupted essence, essence of horror. You can tell it's corrupted, it's got that corruption on it. The next perfect or corrupted essence will only remove suffix modifiers. So we know our prefixes are pretty safe because we're going to remove that abyssal modifier or that desecrated mod. So we right click on the Omen of Dextral Crystallization and we use Essence of Horror. And now we have 100% increased effect of socketed items, which is how we got those really big life rolls. If you look at the gloves before, it's 160 to life with just 240 greater body runes. That's because of that modifier. That horror essence allows me to double up on that property of anything socketed, which is why you want 3 sockets and why we started off with an exceptional base. So now that that's there, on to the next step. We're going to use an Omen of Dextral Necromancy again to add a desecrated suffix. We don't want to touch our prefixes. We like those. So let's go ahead and do this. And we also currently like our suffix. So we activate Omen of Dextral Necromancy, preserved rib, and we go. This is going to desecrate a rare armor, forcing a suffix modifier. Go. Bingo. Now we're looking good. Now here comes the moment where it's going to get kind of wild. I would like you to fracture your 100% increased effect of socketed items. The reason we're doing it this way is we're going to be using a fracturing orb next, which is going to lock in a modifier. If you unfortunately hit not the suffix, in this case a prefix, then we have to go a bit of a different way. And if you don't hit the life modifiers, the prefixes, you're good to go. Life's very easy. So let's see what happens in this video. So we're going to fracture orb, and the reason we desecrated that is with 4 modifiers on it. That's the requirement for a fracturing orb. It says we can lock in a modifier, but it has to have 4 mods. But the thing is, it can't lock in a modifier it doesn't yet know because this desecrated mod is not unveiled. So we're giving ourselves a 33% chance to hit that desecrated mod, or excuse me, that suffix mod that we want, and fingers crossed that we hit that. Increased effect of socketed items. If we don't, we're not bricked yet. It just becomes a little bit trickier to get where we want to go and a little bit more expensive, which I don't want you to do. I want you to save some bucks. So use a fracturing orb at this stage, hit it. Headshot. And I'm super freaking lucky, man. I hit this again, okay? I totally hit this again. But let's assume for a second that you don't. Let's play the what if game, okay? So an editor's note, I want to make sure that I walk you through visually how you can recover the gloves so you don't brick them if you fracture and you don't hit that suffix. You'll notice here that I did hit a fracture on life instead, one of the prefixes. So what I think I might do to get out of this is I'm going to activate the Omen of Sinestral Crystallization. This is going to let my next perfect or corrupted essence remove only a prefix modifier, and that's going to be the essence of hysteria that we use, and it's going to get rid of the prefix modifier, armor, and life. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we're still going to get on the gloves increased crit damage, which is what we want. So when I hit this, boom, you'll see I now have the two suffixes that I really like, which is increased effect of socketed items. I still have crit damage bonus, and I still have life. So if I take a look at the tags that we have here, you're going to see that I've now got damage critical, I've now got essence, and I've also got athlete. So ideally, the Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation is going to add an existing modifier. So if I look at it now, I've got life, and now I've got damage. I can hit any of these damage tags, which could be kind of rough, but we're gonna try to recover it as best we can. Some builds actually enjoy it. Like some builds, the way we have this is fine. Other builds outside of Blood Mage want damage tags, so this may not be the worst thing in the world for them. So let's go ahead and hit this now and see what we get. We're going to activate the Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation. It's possible, if you want to, you could use an Omen of Greater Exaltation, add 2 random modifiers in there. You can do this, and you may want to. It's like, I would not, but here we go. So, Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation, Perfect Exalt, and boom, we got tier 4 physical to attacks. So now the tags are getting a little bit wild. We have damage, physical, attack, life. We've also got critical damage in there. So now our gloves are changing. So this is what I mean by not bricking it. These are still a decent pair of gloves. We just have to find out who else is going to want something like this. So because we now have 2 prefixes, we're basically turning this glove into a damage glove. So it's not so much just for blood mages anymore. Now like a warrior build might want this, right? We're making these gloves for warriors. So oftentimes the gloves could be bricked if it's not just for you, and that's not the case. Other builds might use it. So how else would I recover this? I would just simply add over here. I would go to another Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation. I would activate this. So it's going to add a modifier that already exists, which in our case is going to be, if you look at it, damage physical to attack, life. It could also be critical. So we're going to use a greater exalted orb with that homogenizing, and boom. And now we've got fire, physical, and we've also got some crit and plus increase effect. And we still have that desecrated suffix mod, which is going to be great. We could turn that into like another damage mod. So if I press Control D just to try to recover this, you can see that with crit bonus, 100% increase effect of sockets, fire and physical with life, these gloves should be a-okay. Like they should be coming through kind of nice. If I take fire off, yeah, there's still nothing here. Like nothing exists. So let's see here. Take physical damage off, 65 divine or so. Again, you're going to make your wealth back, and you could try to craft those gloves again to hit that fracture on the suffix to make what you want. I had to make this video. I had to reinvest in the gloves just so you have an idea what happens if the fracture goes kind of sideways on you. Thank you. Let's get back to the video. And so now that these gloves are done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be using a Omen of Dextral Necromancy. So we're going to activate that by right-clicking it, and we're going to desecrate a suffix. And it's whatever you're looking for. So Amanu's got some nice stuff with strength and intelligence, strength and dex. That's okay. Kurgle has a double hit, a double chance here to get dex and int. And the reason that might be advantageous for blood mages like myself who are life stacking is any attribute modifiers that are not strength, we can use to put strength back into our passive skill tree. So anything where we had to increase our intelligence or our dexterity, that corruption would help us with that so that we could force in strength instead of dex or int on the tree. So we'd be looking for something like that. But again, just raw strength, int, any of the attribute modifiers are really, really good here. So let's see what we get. The next step in the process is simple. We've activated Omen of Dextral Necromancy. We're going to hit this with a preserved rib, and done deal. We're good to go, and it's down to the Well of Souls. Now, before we put our gloves in the Well of Souls here, I want to make sure that you know that you can use a few items. So the Omen of Abyssal Echoes will allow you to, when you reveal these or you unveil the desecrated modifiers, activate this Omen of Abyssal Echoes if you've got one. This will allow you to see twice as many options when you unveil. So I click on Well of Souls, I control left click, send the gloves in, I've activated my Omen of Abyssal Echoes, and I hit reveal. And we're going to see, oh, we got 10 strength and int. That's mint. That's exactly what we're looking for. And our Omen of Abyssal Echoes was used, and that's a good pair of gloves. So I am going to hit this and confirm, because that's juicy stuff right there. That's nice. Now, remember, my build is using Veil of Night, so I don't care about elemental resistances. I can't have that. But if you want res, you could have taken any of these options. They're pretty good. And so for me, strength and int, confirm, no problem. I do have a few extra pieces of currency in my inventory just in case situations came up. As an example, let's say you re-rolled that, right? And you didn't see one of the 3 modifiers that you wanted. You could use Omen of Light to enforce or ensure that when you use an Orb of Annulment to remove a modifier, it only removes the desecrated or that green modifier. You could set that up for yourself. So far, so good. Now, the gloves I showed you in the beginning of the video, they were corrupted. And the reason is I was looking for a Val corruption that could add a 3rd socket to these gloves. And in doing so, it would greatly improve the price of these gloves if I hit it. And so that is something that I'm after. I'm looking for that. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So before I Val Orb this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I've got armor scraps, and I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to left click. I'm going to send this quality all the way to the moon, which is 20%. It's the highest quality I can get. You want to make sure you have max sockets, max quality on there before you do anything else. And as for omens, I'm going to grab an Omen of Corruption. And this is going to force the omen, when I activate it, it's going to force the Val Orb to corrupt something, okay? So something has to happen. When you use a Val Orb in Path of Exile 2, sometimes nothing happens. The unpredictability is that, hey, nothing happened. So I want to force that. I want to force a change. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I want to force that change. And activating the Omen of Corruption makes that happen. And they're pretty cheap, pretty effective. So we have activated the Omen of Corruption. We've got 2 sockets. Life is good, and we corrupt. And we hit what? We hit leech some amount of physical damage as life, which is kind of boo earns. Not what we want at all. That's definitely not great. But you don't have to volley gloves. You could have been happy with what you had. So far, I'm not really caring too much. I still have crit damage on there. I lost some strength and int. I literally can't leech. So at the very end of the video, I kind of brick the gloves. But that's the risk I take, because I know if I hit 3 sockets, it's extremely expensive and it's worth a lot of value. But that's not something that you have to do. Just know how I got there, okay? And that's how you would get that 3rd socket. Now, are the gloves good? The gloves are still fine. The gloves are okay. They're 178 life, not too bad. The next step is I would use greater body runes, and I'll show you here. I'll toss 2 of these in, and amazing, I now have 160 increased life on my gloves, and then life is... I hope this video wasn't too long-winded, and I explained this process to you easily and simply. Thank you for watching the video. Stay strong, keep those gloves rolling, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.